여러분 안녕하십니까? EBS 초대석 정관용입니다. 지금 전 세계가 이 코로나19라고 하는 미중유의 사태로 다들 정말 위기를 맞고 있습니다. 그런데 언제부턴가 세계 각국에서 이 한국의 대응으로부터 배워야 한다 이런 이야기들이 나오고 있어요. 그 이유는 뭘까요? 그래서 오늘 우리보다도 우리를 더 객관적으로 보실 분 귀한 손님을 한번 모셨습니다. 오스트리아 출신의 미하엘 라이터러 주한 EU 대사를 모시고 세계가 보는 오늘의 대한민국 그리고 앞으로의 과제 등등에 대해서 고견을 듣도록 하겠습니다. 대사님 어서 오십시오.
Good afternoon.
EU 대사로 부임하신 지가 지금 몇 년째시죠?
Well, this is my third year now, but I keep coming to Korea for 20 years exactly. So I have seen the development of the country over 2 decades, and that has grown in me, and I think I have a good view how the country has developed, and I think it was a very positive development.
그럼 20년 전에 한국에는 어떤 일로 처음 오셨던 거고, 그다음 3년 전 EU 대사로 오신 게 그러면 이제 두 번째 방문이 되시는 건가를 여쭤보고요.
Well, my first visit was in 99, because at the time I was preparing the Asia-Europe meeting, ASEM, where Korea hosted in 2000 the summit. And it was President Kim Dae-jung who was the famous host at the time. And I had the task to prepare. So I came several times in the preparation, but also afterwards. I was then also charged within the European institutions to take care of security issues, cooperation in Northeast Asia, and that brought me several times to Korea. And then I was very happy when at the end of 2016 I was asked whether I want to become the EU ambassador to Korea. And it didn't take me long to say yes with pleasure.
네, 우리 한국 사람들하고 소통을 워낙 잘 하셔가지고 공공외교 대사상을 타셨던데 그거 축하드리고요.
Yes, I think this is an important part of my job because the Republic of Korea is a very important partner for the European Union. We only have 10 what we call strategic partnerships worldwide, and the Republic of Korea is one partner. And if we have strategic partnership, that means we want to work with that partner not only in our bilateral relationship, but also globally. And that's very interesting. And Korea, in these 20 years, has developed from a country which was developing into a fully fledged industrial country, the 11th largest economy in the world. But with a strategic partnership, we also say if you are economically strong, then you also have political responsibility. And that's something also the European Union had to learn. We are one of the biggest economies worldwide, but we also have to take on political responsibility. And there, Korea has become an important partner.
특히나 이제 코로나19 사태 이후에 세계 여러 나라가 한국의 대응을 지금 본보기로 삼아서 우리가 배울 것들이 많다 이런 얘기들을 하고 있지 않습니까? 대사님이 보시기에는 한국 정부 또 한국 국민들의 어떤 점들이 이 세계인들의 주목을 받게 만든 동력이라고 생각하시는지?
Well, I think first of all, Korea had the advantage that it already went to two crises, similar crises with MERS and all that. So I think the government was much better prepared as other countries. The learning curve in Korea was very steep. And I think at the right time, very quickly, investment was made to make sure that equipment was at hand. And then there was also a very good communication. That's very important in a crisis situation. If you want the cooperation of the people, you have to tell them what is going on. And you have to be sincere. And then you get the cooperation. And I think that was Korea has managed to do. Then the second approach, in addition to this, what I would call transparency, was that the medical facilities very quickly were able to handle cases, and then this innovative testing. I think as it was started, it was important to figure out who is infected, because you cannot deal with 51 million inhabitants at once. So I think the concentration on cases, the tracking, that helped very much to bring about control. Also the drive-through testing, for example, was very, very important. And you could see that over time other countries with a certain time lag were following. And as we see right now, I think the curve in Korea is flattening. We are not there yet, but I think we are on the right direction. And you can see from the reaction of the international community that there was a lot of interest. President Moon Jae-in in the G20 virtual summit was asked to report. I have heard he was also invited to go to the WHO conference to report. So I think this is something to be used, but which has to be shared. And what we are doing also in the European Union, we would like to cooperate and find a solution, because we are still in crisis. So we can work together to make sure that we can develop a vaccine. Medicaments are very, very important, and the European Union has already, at the end of January, so very early, we have published a call for scientists worldwide to cooperate and work with us to find methods to heal and this famous vaccine. And building on a long tradition of science and technology cooperation between the European Union and Korea, I'm quite confident that this will produce also results.
우리는 이제 유럽 국가들을 경제적으로 성장한 국가들이고, 그리고 시민사회, 시민의식도 성장되어 있고, 정부와 시민사회 사이에 커뮤니케이션, 소통도 잘 되는 뭐 이런 사회를 우리가 알고 있었었는데, 이번에 코로나19 사태를 닥쳐보니까 유럽 사회에도 의료체계에 공백이 있고, 시민사회와 정부 사이의 소통에 문제가 있고, 또 적극적인 시민들의 어떤 사회적 거리두기 같은 것에 대한 동참도 한국보다 좀 못하다, 잘못하고 있다, 이런 지적들이 나오는데, 유럽인들이 바라보기에 코로나19로 지금 유럽이 저렇게 큰 위기를 맞게 되는 진짜 원인이 어디 있다고 생각하시는지?
Well, I think as I mentioned, you are right. There was, for some time, European countries were caught on the wrong foot. The latest crisis of that was the Spanish flu at the end of the First World War. So for a long time, Europe did not have to deal with such a pandemic. And if you don't have to deal with it for more than 100 years, then you are not as alert as you should be. And therefore, I think it was easier for a country like Korea, which has gone through two of these crises in the last 20 years, to be better prepared. But I think after a short time, especially the European institutions and the European Commission were trying to coordinate and to make sure that we have a common approach. Because what is the worst thing in such a crisis is that everybody goes alone. If everybody goes along, it will last longer. If we work together within the European Union, but also in the international community, we will be able to shorten the crisis. And then, when we have managed the health problem, we will have to make very important efforts to get the economies back.
자, 이 보건과 방역, 그래서 코로나19 또 백신을 개발해서 지금의 이 위기 상황을 넘어가는 것이 이제 1차적인 과제이다라는 건 분명한데, 이제 그 다음 우리가 또 생각해야 할 것이 한 두 가지 과제가 더 있는 것 같아요. 첫 번째는 코로나19로 인해서 전 세계에 닥친 경제 위기, 이걸 어떻게 극복할 것인가. 또 그걸 극복하는 데서 국제적 협력은 어떻게 할 것인가, 이 부분이고요. 두 번째는 코로나19 이후에는 사실은 경제 시스템도 정치 시스템도 상당한 큰 변화가 예상이 돼서 이른바 신인류의 시대가 온다, 이런 표현까지 좀 나오고 있습니다. 그런 코로나19 이후에 새로운 시대 변화에는 우리가 어떻게 대응해야 할 것인지 두 가지 큰 숙제가 있을 것 같은데, 먼저 첫 번째, 코로나19로 인한 세계 경제 위기에 어떻게 대응할 것이며 국제적 협력은 어떻게 할 것인지, 이거부터 좀 답변해 주시죠.
Well, I think what we have learned all very quickly, that we have one world economy. We have production lines which are international. You have Korean companies producing in Europe. European companies are the biggest investors in Korea. So it is very clear that we have to do this together. Now everybody has to work in his own field first. So within the European Union, we are using all the instruments which we have. We have the European Central Bank, which is managing the euro. We have funds, which are solidarity funds set up in the European Union. We have checked our European budget, and all the money which was not spent yet, we are trying to divert it to help overcoming the crisis. We are right now talking about the next budget of the European Union, and we will have to change the priorities. So if a big player, and the European Union is the largest economy in the world, we are the biggest trading country, we have to make sure that we can keep and reopen communication lines. And I think this is what we are in line with Korea. President Moon Jae-in at the G20 also pleaded to make sure that essential travelers, businessmen, health-related person can travel. So we have to make sure that we don't rest in a shutdown that will not work, and then we open up again. And there we will need the World Trade Organization, the WTO, which we need to strengthen, and there we count also very much on the cooperation of Korea. We have seen that the IMF is helping to find the right instruments and to use them in a way that they can help everybody. So going alone would not be the right. What we have as a first is to get the world economy running again. This is the first when we talk about economics. We have many funds now. We have budgets. We have budget deficits. So in the future, we will have to find a way how we then reduce the deficits. And that also will need common efforts.
결국 하나의 경제 공동체니까 위기 극복도 같이 할 수밖에 없다. 혼자 할 수 없다. 이 말씀 맞는 말씀인 것 같고. 자, 이제 그 두 번째 과제. 코로나19 이후에 경제 시스템에도 큰 변화가 예상이 되고 사람들의 삶의 방식에도 큰 변화가 예상이 되는데 대사님께서는 이 코로나19 이후의 세상을 어떤 세상이라고 부르고 싶으신지 그것의 특징은 뭐라고 보실지.
Well, I spent quite some time teleworking. That was a complete new experience to me. Sitting at home in front of my desk, working the smartphone, working the computer, working with messages. Mm-hmm. And suddenly you figure out there are a lot of things which actually can be done without traveling, without meetings. So I think the way we work will be influenced. And we also have seen, and I think that you are the Korean expert, there was a softening in Korea about the working hours. No longer the rigid ones, that everything starts and ends at the same time. Everybody is running exactly at the same time to have lunch. Social distancing was necessary, and the flexibility. So if teleworking is possible in the crisis, to a certain extent, I think we will be teleworking also in the future. We will have a more flexible approach. I think, of course, for families, this is quite difficult. Schools closed, kids at home. They should learn now telelearning. Father and mother should telework. So you need space, you need a good infrastructure, and I think this is quite a strain on many persons, which one has to be aware of. But I think the takeaway is that we will think in the future how we organize work, what is the division of work, division of labor. Probably we will also see to build in more security. Now we have got all used to just-in-time deliveries. Just-in-time deliveries are efficient, they are good, as long as everything is working. But if suddenly the system is cut, then you see the ripple effect. And I think this is something which we will see, which we will have to address in the future without falling in the mistake that we have to become autonomous. Everybody does everything at home. This will not be the solution. This would not be effective. But I think the whole infrastructure, the whole transport, air transport, sea transport will be impacted. And we should not forget one positive effect. All the data which we get now about the environment is there is a dramatic improvement of the environmental condition. So this is the proof for those who still needed the proof that a lot of damage to the environment is man-made. And I think we should take here positive energy in order to take it on with climate change, for example. Climate change will not go away because of the coronavirus crisis. And I think there are synergies which we should keep in our minds and then also implement in the future.
그러니까 좀 작게 보면은 사람들이 극장에 가서 영화를 보지 않는다. 대신에 집에서 영화를 본다. 그래서 극장들은 이게 산업적으로 볼 때 전망이 좋지 않고 대신에 넷플릭스 같은 서비스들은 산업적으로 볼 때 앞으로도 성장할 산업이고 이렇게 경제 산업별로도 좋아지는 쪽과 나빠지는 쪽이 이렇게 대비되는 그런 것들이 있지 않겠습니까? 근데 이제 말씀하신 그보다 더 근본적인 것은 코로나19가 이번에 만약 좀 조용히 지나간다 하더라도 앞으로 또 몇 년 안에 어떤 훨씬 더 위험한 바이러스가 우리에게 올지 모르는 거라기 때문에 그런 것들을 막아낼 수 있는 그런 것들이 오지 않도록 하기 위해서는 기후변화, 환경 파괴, 여기에 대한 전 세계적 경각심을 공유해야 한다는 점. 이번 코로나19 사태로 전 지구인이 함께 좀 깨달을 수 있을까요?
Well, as I said, the slowing down of the economy had positive effects on the environment. So the goal of climate change policy is not to ruin an economy. On the contrary, we in the European Union, we have started with the Green Deal. And this is a program in order to create jobs, new jobs, in greening the economy. And I think this positive energy, that's what we have to take on. The health crisis is perhaps a reminder that we should not take everything for granted as we did in the past. On the other hand, I'm an optimist, and I trust very much that the researchers worldwide, they will be able to find a medicine. They will develop a vaccine, as we have developed one against the flu. But unfortunately, we are right now in this crisis time that we are not there yet. So we have to make sure that we get through this time with as little loss of life and economy as possible. But then I think we should probably not fall back in the mistake to say, okay, now we are safe. Because as you rightly say, we don't know what nature has waiting for us. But if we manage to work now collectively, and if we create this basis of international cooperation, then we will be better prepared for any new virus which might come. But I don't wish for that.
우리 대사님께서는 일회용품 사용 안 하기 이런 운동 차원에서 독특한 물건들을 가지고 다니시는 걸로 유명합니다. 제가 좀 가져와 봤는데 그리고 이렇게 이 두 가지 물건이 뭘 하는 건지 또 어떻게 만들어진 것인지 설명을 좀 해주세요.
Well, this is actually something very practical because it is and it's natural. So if I see young people going around with coffees,
대나무인가요? 대나무?
bamboo, yes, it's bamboo. It's not. It's completely natural. You can use it. You can even clean it. And if you have seen how many of these plastic straws end up in the oceans, end up in the stomachs of fish, then you really must make an effort. And talking about fish, this bag, which is made of used fisherman nets. So normally they would be lying around or would go back into the seas and they would not be destroyed for a long time. So we had them made here. It's a Korean product, and it is environmentally friendly and no plastic bag, please. This you can use and it will not fall apart. This you can use and you don't throw it away with all this plastic. So no plastic is in the interest of our oceans. So and this is also an area where we are pushing hard, and Korea, which is surrounded in every direction except the north by oceans, has a big interest. And if we want to eat fish, well, we have to take care that fish survives.
그렇죠. 지금 직접 활용하고 계신 이런 그 대나무 빨대 같이 일반 시민들이 누구나 다 동참할 수 있는.
That's for you.
오케이, 땡큐. 뭐 이런 개개인의 작은 실천이 모여야 사실은 성과가 있는 거 아니겠습니까?
Yes, and because I think the message which we have to pass is everybody can make a contribution. Because if you think you can leave it to the government or to the others, that doesn't work. And this awareness raising campaign is one of the means to show you can make a contribution. Whether it's this, whether you turn off all the electrical instruments, don't have all the appliances on standby all the time. It's inconvenient, you have to go there, you turn it on instead of being on standby all the time. You can also bring not only a bag, but you can also bring your own cup. And I have in the building where my office is, if you come with your own mug and buy the coffee, you get a discount. So that helps also that you don't get a plastic and so the small things and they really work.